The following video was recorded by a lady and her friend Josh, who decided to experiment with a Ouija board and film the entire session. At first, nothing unusual happens as their fingers rest lightly on the planchette, asking questions into the quiet room, waiting for any kind of response. For nearly 20 minutes, everything seems still until this happens. Watch.
Blow out a candle if you're here. Right then.
Lol.
Maybe he's not here. Oh, we're assuming it's gender. Are you male or female?
Yeah. Are you male or female? Are you both?
Are you a male? What's that?
It's probably just a house creaking.
No. Oh my god. No.
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 Right, close
No.
that door. Close that.
God. Oh my god.
Close that door.
Nah. I'm gone. No. I'm...
Without warning, a door behind them slowly opens on its own. She quickly gets up, clearly shaken, and walks over to close it. But another door suddenly slams shut with force, louder, sharper, and impossible to ignore. Ouija boards have long been associated with attempts to contact spirits. Many believe they don't just allow communication, they act as invitations. Invitations for something unseen to step closer, to listen, and sometimes to follow. What makes situations like this especially concerning is one rule that experienced users always warn about. Never remove your fingers from the planchette without properly ending the session by saying goodbye. According to paranormal belief, saying goodbye isn't symbolic. It's a way of closing whatever was opened. Without it, the connection is believed to remain active, leaving whatever answered free to linger. And in this video, viewers noticed something disturbing. When the door first opened, both friends instinctively pulled their hands away from the board. There was no clear goodbye, no closure, just fear and distance. She later explained that after the recording ended, they did say goodbye and threw the board away, hoping that would end everything. But many believe once something responds, simply throwing the board away doesn't undo the invitation, because sometimes the board isn't what brings it in. It's the moment you asked it to come. In this next clip, two friends decide to explore the basement of Danver's State Hospital. They enter through the rear loading garage and slowly make their way down the long, dimly lit corridor toward the front of the building before turning back. The place is quiet, too quiet, the kind of silence that feels heavy rather than empty. But while they were walking, something else may have been down there with them, and although their eyes didn't catch it in the moment, the camera did. Watch. If you look closely, you can see what appears to be a figure walking past. Now, some viewers believe it could be a homeless person, who simply didn't want to be noticed. But then there's the location. Danver State Hospital has a long and unsettling history. Originally opened in the late 1800s as a psychiatric facility, it's been surrounded by rumors for decades, stories of harsh treatments, overcrowding, and patients who never left. Explorers have claimed to hear disembodied footsteps in empty corridors, whispers in the basement, and shadow figures moving between doorways long after the hospital shut down. So was this a person moving quietly in the dark? Or could it be something tied to the building's past, still walking the halls it once knew? I'll let you decide. Now in this next video, a woman who enjoys collecting haunted dolls captures something unbelievable. Watch this. At first glance, you must have assumed the obvious: faulty wiring, hidden batteries, or some kind of built-in mechanism. But after looking closely and seeing that there are no batteries inside, you start to wonder. Collectors who specialize in haunted objects often believe certain items can act as vessels. Dolls, in particular, are thought to be ideal because of their human-like form. They have faces, eyes, and bodies, something that, according to paranormal belief, makes it easier for a spirit to attach, observe, and even express itself. Some collectors say they have experienced dolls changing position, making sounds, or even appearing in different rooms without explanation. But this is exactly why so many people can't stand them. There's something deeply unsettling about an object that looks human but isn't alive. Something that can sit silently for years and then suddenly move when no one touches it. It creates the feeling that it isn't just an object anymore, but something aware, something present. And moments like this only deepen that fear. Because if there are no batteries, then what exactly made it move? Until more updates are shared, this remains unsolved. The following video comes from a man who, for weeks, kept waking up to find his kitchen in complete disarray. Cabinets left slightly open, utensils on the floor, and containers knocked over. At first, he blamed rats. It was the only explanation that made sense, especially living in an area where rodents weren't uncommon. But something about it didn't sit right with him. Some of the objects being moved were heavy, solid containers, and things that would require real force to push off the counter. Still, he tried everything: traps, repellents, sealing entry points. And yet, every morning, the mess kept coming back. Eventually, he decided to install a camera in his kitchen, hoping to finally catch whatever was responsible. And what he captured left him shaken. Watch this. The movement doesn't look like the items were unstable, then fell. It looks more like something unseen is standing there, choosing what to move next. Some believe this could be a poltergeist, a type of entity known not for appearing, but for interacting physically with the environment. Unlike apparitions that are only seen briefly, poltergeists are often associated with repeated disturbances, objects being pushed, thrown, or displaced without warning, and the kitchen, being a central and active part of any home, often becomes a focal point. What makes this more unsettling is the pattern. This wasn't a one-time incident. It happened repeatedly, night after night, almost like whatever was there had grown comfortable, confident enough to act openly. He fears this is only the beginning, so we can only hope he gets all the help he needs. Unlike the man in the previous clip, who is still searching for answers, this man says he already knows what he's dealing with. For months now, he's been living with what he believes is the spirit of a child. It started with light footsteps running across the hallway when no one else was home, toys he didn't own appearing in different places, and soft giggling late at night, the kind that stops the moment he tries to follow it. Sometimes, he even hears laughter echoing from empty rooms, playful but wrong. He's done everything he could think of. He's cleansed the house, he's performed last rites to make whatever is there move on peacefully, but nothing has worked. And now, the activity has started to escalate. Watch this. First, the kitchen cabinet. Then you can hear something giggle, and then comes the moment that truly terrifies him. For a split second, something that looks like a small hand appears, and there's no way anyone could fit into that cabinet. Many believe that childlike spirits can be deceptive, and they don't always present themselves as harmless. The laughter, the runny, the playful noises, it creates the illusion of something harmless, until it isn't. So what do you think? Is he really being haunted by something childlike? Or is there some logical explanation we're missing? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one. In this next clip, a guy and his friend are playing card games, enjoying what was supposed to be a normal, quiet night, when suddenly, the bathroom door starts doing this.
Bueno, te dejo primero. Listo, te regalaste. Truco. Quiero. No, dale, boludo. No le des bola, no le des bola, no le des bola porque es peor. No le des bola. ¿Qué hora es? ¿Qué hora es? Son las 3 de la mañana. Las 3 de la mañana. Siempre arranca los redes, no le des bola. Hace cuenta no pasa nada porque si no es peor, boludo. No, dale, a mí me da miedo. No le des bola. Dale, juega, boludo, dale. No es nada, son ruidos nomás. No, ni en pedo eso por la aguja de mierda esa me hiciste jugar otra vez. Si salió re mal, ni nos contactamos, dale, juega. Ahí te está, para allá. Apaga la luz. No apague nada. Apaga la luz. No apague nada. Apágala. No, ya está. Para. Para que le voy a preguntar. No apagué. No seas cagón, para. ¿Por qué no quisiste hablar con nosotros ayer? No pregunté nada. Para. Para que, a ver, vamos a probar, para. Manifestate si estás acá. Ya está, boludo. Ahí está. Entra que yo le pregunto. Dale, entra, no seas cagón. Yo no voy a entrar, dale, que es la primera vez que me pasa estando con alguien, dale. Encima tengo todo grabado, para. ¿Por qué me estás molestando a mí? No grabé, boludo, ya estábamos en la mierda. Para, no te vayas. Para. No, dale, boludo, dale. En serio te digo. Si te ayudo, ¿me dejas en paz? Para. Entra. No, abrí la puerta. No entro ni pedo. No, yo me quiero. Para. ¿Cómo te saco de ahí? ¿Moriste hace mucho? entra, ¿podemos entrar a verte? Entra, dale, dale, no seas cagón, entra.
No, a mí me da un recagazo.
Dale, por favor, entra que te grabo de acá, dale.
¿En serio?
Entra, boludo, dale. Prende la luz. Pará, déjame a mí, vení, déjame a mí. Pará. No hay nada, boludo. Vamos a salir, salí.
The handle begins shaking aggressively, like someone on the other side is desperately trying to get out. What makes this even more disturbing is the fact that the door isn't locked. With that much force on the handle, the door should open easily, but it didn't. More like whatever or whoever was there was trying to get their attention. According to the owner of the apartment, this wasn't the first time strange things had happened in that bathroom. He's heard violent banging on the same door before, and sometimes, late at night, he hears whispers coming from inside. Not random noises, but what sounds like actual conversations. Multiple voices speaking too quietly to understand, but clear enough to know something is there. But viewers pointed out one critical mistake. He opened the door. There's a long-standing warning repeated in paranormal circles. If something knocks, shakes, or tries to lure you into opening a door when you know no one should be there, you don't open it. Because sometimes, the act of opening the door is seen as an invitation. And then, a comment surfaced that made the entire situation even more unsettling. One viewer claimed to know the guy in the video through TikTok. According to them, the activity didn't stop. It got worse. Much worse that his behavior began to change. He became distant, erratic, and paranoid, like he was constantly being watched. And then one day, he disappeared. No warning and no explanation. Some people believe whatever was behind that door was a demon that attached itself to him and eventually broke him, which makes people wonder, what if he didn't open the door that night? Now, in this next clip, a woman shares the disturbing activity that's been happening inside her home, a house she lives in with her husband and her father-in-law. At first, the incidents were easy to ignore, but recently, the activity has become impossible to dismiss and seems to center around one specific place, her father-in-law's bedroom. Watch this.
Alright guys, some crazy stuff's been happening in my house. I'm trying to catch it on camera. The door shut like 5 minutes ago. I opened it back up. I'm gonna see if it'll do it again. Here we go. Oh shit. Oh my god, that was so crazy. I really didn't think it was gonna happen like that on cue. Jesus. Oh god. Why is my camera glitching out? Oh, that tends to happen when you get close to stuff, I guess. Okay, I just want to show you guys that no one's in here. No one's here but us. This is a closet. Let me try to turn the light on so you guys can see. Like, there's nothing in here, nobody in here. Like, what the fuck? Nobody under a bed. You can't see nothing. Ah! Oh my god. Holy shit. Oh my god. What the? And guys, I know my father-in-law did not just shut that fucking door. He's like 60 some years old, guys. Like, this is his bedroom, and he's scared to death. Like, he's been sleeping on the couch. And my brother's been sleeping in his bed, but this is crazy. What the? I don't know.
What makes this even more emotional is something viewers found in the room. Her father-in-law lost his wife years ago, and he still keeps a picture of both of them inside the bedroom, Some viewers believe this may not be something hostile at all. They believe it could be her, and that the door slamming could be her way of making herself known, not to harm, but to remind him that he isn't alone. Many believe that fear can create distance between the living and spirits who mean no harm, and instead of reacting with panic, some suggest she helps her father-in-law acknowledge the presence calmly, even speak to her, as a way of bringing peace to both sides. But others see something far more concerning. They warn that not every entity that appears in a familiar space is who it seems to be. Some entities are believed to mimic loved ones, using emotional attachment as a way to gain trust and remain close. The sudden, forceful movement of the door doesn't feel gentle or comforting. It feels aggressive, like something trying to assert control over the space. So if it isn't his late wife, then something else may have chosen that room for a reason. But as always, I'll leave you to be the judge. In this next video, a woman visiting a hospital captures something she didn't notice at the time. But once viewers saw it, it completely changed how the footage was understood. Watch this. If you focus on the right side of your screen, near one of the wards, something briefly peeks out. It's quick, almost cautious, like whatever it is doesn't want to be fully seen. And then, seconds later, it appears again, this time on the left side. What makes this more disturbing is what happens next. She immediately goes back to check those rooms herself, expecting to find maybe a nurse, a patient, or at least someone who had been standing there moments earlier. But when she looks inside, the rooms are empty. Hospitals are places where life and death exist side by side. Every hallway has seen moments of relief and moments of loss. Over the years, countless patients have spent their final hours inside rooms just like those. And many people believe that when someone passes suddenly or with unfinished emotions, their presence can linger, tied to the very place where they took their last breath. So what do you think she saw? A nurse stepping out of view at just the right moment? Or something that never really left those halls in the first place? The following video is about Nate, who still hasn't been able to figure out what exactly he's dealing with, or what approach to use to make it stop. Over time, the activity in his house hasn't faded or stabilized. It's escalated. He started waking up with unexplained scratches on his body, hearing footsteps when no one else is home, and noticing areas of the house where his dog refuses to go. But this particular morning was different. Watch closely.
Alright guys. Still kind of shaking a little bit here. So, I was upstairs. It's just me here, me and the dog. Wife left. I was upstairs, brushing my teeth. And from below me, like where my feet were, which would be the kitchen, I was hearing what sounded like knocks, which would be on the kitchen ceiling. Then it stopped. Once it stopped, I figured, okay, no big deal. So I came down. I was getting ready to cut some oranges. Came over to get the one I always use, the knife I always use to cut fruit and vegetables and stuff. And it's not there. So I figured, oh, it must be dirty. No. Kind of stood for a minute, and then like, what the f on here? Like, in this house. This is a different level. This is not right. This is this is not. This is not okay. This is not okay. It's in there pretty. So I'm guessing that was the sound I was hearing from below my feet. Because the bathroom is right on the other side of this, so that's how my morning started. Just wanted some oranges.
Objects found in positions like this, especially heavy or sharp objects, are often associated with aggressive poltergeist activity, where force and intent seem to be involved. This isn't something falling, tipping, or sliding. Something had to exert pressure to get it there. And when Nate says, "This is not okay," there's something else. A faint voice responding. It's difficult to make out, but undeniably there. Almost as if whatever caused this is aware it's been noticed. Another morning, Nate is home alone when he notices something peeking out from his basement. At first, he tries to come up with logical reasons: shadows, lighting, his eyes adjusting. But the sense of being watched didn't go away. Eventually, he grabbed his camera, and here's what he caught.
Guys, check it out. Something was peeking. Right out. From the basement. I wanted to see if we can catch it. The end of it. But it was like right by the bed. What the? This has been the third morning in a row. Like clockwork. I might have to look back, but it might be around the same times as well. I don't understand. There's nothing. And then I was hearing steps coming down those stairs, but there's nothing. Guys. I don't know, guys. Maybe we can try. What was that?
For many viewers, the most unsettling part isn't even the shape peeking from the basement, it's the whispering. Some people believe they can hear words being formed, while others say it sounds like incoherent murmuring. What makes this harder to dismiss is Nate's claim that this hasn't been a one-time occurrence. He says it's been happening almost every morning, always from the same spot, as if something is watching and waiting. After several people weighed in, many pointed out a recurring detail in Nate's updates. His house is almost always dark, and some believe that prolonged darkness, combined with emotional stress and fear, can intensify paranormal activity, creating an environment where whatever is present feels undisturbed, comfortable, or even encouraged. Then Nate shared another update, one that only made the situation more mysterious. Listen carefully.
I want to share a little update on the activity and something that happened last night. I'm only putting this out there to maybe get some advice or answers, or if anybody has experienced something like this. So I was in a dream. I was dreaming that I was in my house and something had come and woken me up and told me to follow it downstairs. It needed to show me something. So I followed it downstairs, but the whole time my eyes couldn't adjust to what I was following. It was just a figure. Couldn't tell if it was male or female. It was shorter than me. I'm 6 feet. It was shorter than me. That's all I can make out. It was like a, not a mist, but it was like not a full formed shape, if that makes any sense. But it's a dream, so I figured, anyways, I follow it downstairs into the middle of the dining room, and it just lifts up and points its arm towards the basement. I didn't know what it was trying to tell me, but then instantly there was this loud wake up, but it didn't come from the figure. I immediately woke up, but when I woke up, I was standing in my dining room. I have never, ever had an issue of sleepwalking. Never in my life, at least that I know of, or remember, or have ever been told that I sleepwalk. So, I don't know if it was a dream. I don't know if it was a lucid dream. I don't know if I was sleepwalking. But has anybody ever experienced something like this? Because I am at a loss what it means. If there's a reason behind it.
He believes that whatever woke him may have been a warning, possibly his spirit guides, stopping him from going into the basement. From his perspective, the whispers, the peeking, and the activity all seem like attempts to lure him closer to whatever is down there. But others see it completely differently. Some believe the voice that woke him wasn't protecting him at all, but guiding him. That whatever is happening in the basement holds the answers to what he's been experiencing, and whatever else is in the house doesn't want him finding out. That the whispers, distractions, and fear are meant to keep him away. So now the question is, was Nate being warned, or was he being invited? And if something does want him in that basement, the real question is why. I'd love to hear your thoughts. In this next video, Kyle found an abandoned house and decided to do a quick walkthrough, filming the inside to show his partner later. He went in expecting the usual things explorers look for: scattered belongings, traces of past lives, maybe old furniture frozen in time, but what he captured turned out to be something very different. Have a look. Just in case you missed it, within the first few seconds of the video, there are several details that immediately stand out. A black cat is seen inside the abandoned house, which is strange on its own, considering how rarely animals stay inside unstable, empty structures for long. In medieval European folklore, Black cats were believed to be familiars, supernatural beings or animal-shaped entities said to assist in dark practices. They weren't viewed as ordinary animals, but as extensions of something else, something unseen. In other cultures, black cats were considered omens of death. One 16th century Italian superstition even claimed that if a black cat lay on a sick person's bed, death would soon follow. Because of these beliefs, the presence of a black cat in an already badly abandoned, decaying structure has long been associated with places thought to be spiritually active. Almost immediately after he saw the black cat, a door was shaking violently, even though no one else was inside the building. There's no visible draft, no footsteps, no movement nearby that would explain it. On top of that, faint orbs drift through the frame, and an odd sound can be heard in the background. But one of the most unsettling details is something Kyle himself didn't even notice at the time. What's unsettling is how layered the activity feels. The cat, the shaking door, the orbs, and the sound. None of them happen in isolation, and together they create the sense that Kyle may not have been as alone as he thought. But it's not just his experiences at abandoned places that keeps viewers on the edge of their seats. For context, Kyle is someone who frequently explores abandoned places, and his partner happens to collect strange dolls. So when he shared what things look like at home, many viewers weren't surprised, but they were still disturbed. Watch this.
Just got home from work. This needs to stop. I need help, please. Going to explore it later.
When she got home, the door was rattling like someone was trying to get out, but the moment she entered, there's no one there, and the doll by the window was no longer there. No one entered the room, no one touched it, it was simply gone. Some viewers believe the activity from the abandoned house may have followed him home, not necessarily attached to him, but drawn to familiar objects, especially dolls, which are often believed to act as conduits or focal points for paranormal energy. Others think it's something that was already present in their home, and that Kyle's exploration may have stirred it up. According to Kyle and his partner, they don't feel threatened by whatever is happening. They describe it as more of an annoyance than anything else. Objects moving, small disturbances, things being misplaced and reappearing. Nothing violent or aggressive, but that's where many people begin to worry, because paranormal activity rarely stays the same forever. What starts as harmless or playful behavior can escalate over time, especially if it's being acknowledged, recorded, or unintentionally encouraged. The fact that they don't feel threatened now doesn't necessarily mean it will always stay that way. So is this something that's simply coexisting with them, or is it still figuring out how far it can go? I'll leave you to be the judge on this one. Now in this next clip, Nick has been documenting the strange activity that's been following him, not just at home, but at work. At his store, Nick installed security cameras everywhere, and according to him, there are very few nights where nothing strange happens. Chairs shift on their own, objects fall over, no matter how carefully they're placed. Items that were stable moments earlier suddenly end up on the floor. And there have even been times when he's returned to the store only to find windows cracked, despite no signs of forced entry. And when he gets home, it doesn't stop. Watch this.
Is there anyone here that can give me a sign? And something just fell off the counter, right in front of my face. Holy shit! Okay, is there anyone here? Yay, that was fun. Love this room. Just again. This is... Oh my god, my camera won't even focus. Hello? Can you use the dream catch? Okay, my camera's not even focusing. This is so weird. Can you use the dream catcher again to try to communicate with me, please? Okay. I think it made a sound out here again. Hello?
In this video, Nick asks for a sign, and almost immediately, objects begin falling. While some viewers see this as confirmation of paranormal activity, others warn that asking for signs isn't always a good idea. On one hand, some believe that spirits responding to direct questions may indicate intelligence or awareness, possibly a presence trying to communicate. Especially when the response is immediate, it can feel like validation that someone or something is listening. But on the other hand, many people argue that inviting responses, even unintentionally, can escalate activity. Asking for signs is often seen as giving permission, opening a door, rather than simply observing what's already there. And once something realizes it's being acknowledged, the activity can increase in both frequency and intensity. Another detail viewers couldn't ignore is the presence of several floating orbs throughout the footage. While skeptics argue these could be dust or insects reflecting light, others point out that the orbs appear at moments of heightened activity, drifting, changing direction, and lingering in ways that don't seem random. Because the activity follows Nick from place to place, many people believe Nick himself may be the focal point. Not the house, not the store, but him. Some say he could be unknowingly carrying something attached to him. Others take it a step further, suggesting the presence may be something darker, possibly even demonic, feeding off attention or fear. Nick, clearly unsettled, has been asking for advice on how to make it stop. Take a look at the security footage from his store. This footage only strengthened the theory that whatever is causing the disturbances at both locations is attached to Nick. The activity mirrors what happens at his home. Objects moving without explanation, sudden shifts in the environment, and no visible cause. The consistency between both locations makes it harder to argue coincidence or environmental factors. If the house were haunted, the store wouldn't be affected. If the store were the problem, the activity wouldn't follow him home. That's what makes this case so unsettling. It suggests something mobile, something that isn't bound by walls or locations, something that goes where he goes. And until Nick shares more updates or finds a way to stop what's happening, this case remains a mystery. But what you think? Is Nick haunted, or is he being followed? For the past hour, Christian says he'd been hearing strange knocking sounds coming from his kitchen. Soft at first, but frequent enough that he finally grabbed his phone to record. He walks in slowly, clearly tense, trying to catch whatever has been making the noise.
Hey guys, I've been hearing this really weird knocking coming from my kitchen for like the last hour. What the hell? No way. The hell?
As soon as the camera points toward the cabinets, one of the doors can be seen slowly opening on its own, just a few inches, before gently closing again. Christian freezes, speaking in disbelief as it keeps happening, almost like something testing whether it's being watched. The second he steps closer, the movement stops completely. He reaches out, pulls the cabinet open fully, and shows the inside is empty. No pets, no loose hinges, nothing that could explain it. The knocking doesn't return, but the silence that follows feels even worse. Christian later said this was the moment he realized the sounds weren't random at all, and whatever was in his kitchen only moved when it thought it was alone. Andos was home alone late at night, sitting at his computer when he heard a strange noise coming from somewhere outside his room. At first, it sounded almost like a voice, muffled and distant, the kind of noise you can convince yourself is just a neighbor or something outside. Still, it unsettled him enough that he grabbed his phone and started recording. He steps outside for a moment, scanning the area, then comes back in and slowly walks through the house, checking room after room to prove nothing's there. Everything seems normal, quiet again, almost embarrassingly so. But when he finally enters his parents' bedroom, that calm evaporates. As soon as he steps inside, the wardrobe door ahead of him begins to open on its own, slowly creaking outward, as if someone inside was pushing it. Andos freezes, then backs away, clearly panicking as the door opens with no one near it. He insists nobody else was in the house, and there was no draft strong enough to cause it. After that night, he said he stopped staying in that room altogether, convinced whatever made that noise earlier was waiting for him to come back. In this next clip from the YouTube channel Fourth Wall, which currently has over 268,000 subscribers and focuses entirely on paranormal investigations, the person behind the camera captures a moment that viewers still argue about. He's slowly filming a miniature 3D model on a table that resembles traditional Asian architecture, carefully panning the camera, but he feels heavy and uncomfortable. As he steps closer to the model, something unsettling happens off to his left. A small Buddha statue suddenly tips over and falls straight to the ground without being touched. The sound cuts through the room, instantly changing the mood. He freezes, then turns the camera to show there's nothing near it that could have caused the fall. No vibration, no movement, no one else present. What makes this moment even more disturbing to viewers is the symbolism. Many believe that if a presence is strong enough to knock over a religious figure, especially one associated with peace and protection, it could suggest whatever is there doesn't belong or doesn't want it to be acknowledged. After the clip, the creator admitted the atmosphere in the room felt colder and heavier, and he ended the investigation shortly after. Whether coincidence or something darker, this moment is one of the reasons Fourth Wall continues to trend in the paranormal community. Subscribe as this story will be continuing. In the following video, the man recording keeps the camera steady, zooming slightly as the movement behind the curtain becomes harder to ignore. The shadow paces back and forth with a clear, human-like shape, its head and shoulders briefly outlined as it passes the thin fabric again and again.
Hey, ¿qué pedo? Mamen, si ven eso. ¡Qué verga! Y, o sea, lo cagado es que estoy en un segundo piso.
After a few seconds, he musters the courage to pull the curtain aside, half expecting someone to be standing there, but the space is completely empty. To make things even stranger, he leans out and angles the camera through the window, showing the outside clearly. There's nobody below, no one walking past, no possible reflection. The most bizarre part is that he was on the second floor, meaning whatever cast that shadow couldn't have been outside in the first place. The curtain hangs still now, as if nothing ever moved behind it. The clip ends with him standing there in silence, trying to process how something could walk back and forth behind a curtain without ever actually being there. A woman was out walking her Labrador along a quiet trail, filming casually as the dog kept pulling hard toward the woods, unusually fixated on something off the path. She laughs it off at first, assuming the dog just caught a scent, but the way it keeps resisting and staring makes her turn the camera in that direction.
Come on, Bruce. What's up? Come on. Oi. Come on. Bruce. Come on.
As she pans toward the trees, a faint, human-shaped figure can be seen standing just inside the tree line, partially obscured by shadow and distance. It's easy to miss in real time, and she doesn't react at all, continuing the walk. A few moments later, as the dog pulls again and she films the same area, the figure appears once more, this time slipping behind the nearest tree as if it's actively trying not to be seen. The movement is slow and deliberate, not like an animal. She walks on completely unaware, but she later pointed out the figure frame by frame when editing the video. Paired with the dog's sudden, intense behavior, many believe whatever was watching her knew exactly what it was doing and chose to stay hidden. In the upcoming clip, Manuel is exploring an abandoned school late at night, a place he's convinced is haunted after hearing about unexplained activity there for years. The building is silent except for his footsteps echoing through the empty halls as he films, slowly making his way toward the area where most of the reports seem to come from. The further he goes, the heavier the atmosphere feels, like the air itself is tense.
Para que vean que no es inventado, o sea, no tengo ningún otro dispositivo. La bocina la tengo aquí, o sea, no hay otro medio, estoy grabando con mi teléfono, un único teléfono. Y nuevamente escuché ruidos. Maldita sea. Nuevamente escuché ruidos Esta vez ya no es un niño. No mames. ¡Ey! ¿Quién está ahí? No seas mamón. Ay, no seas mamón. Estoy completamente solo
As he approaches a hallway near the bathrooms, a strange, high-pitched sound begins to ring out, faint at first, but sharp enough to make him stop in his tracks. He follows it, the noise guiding him straight to a bathroom on the left. As he gets closer, the sound shifts into something worse, a quiet, drawn-out wail that sends chills through him. Manuel steps inside, whispering "hey" into the darkness as the wail suddenly grows much louder, echoing off the tiled walls. He starts checking each stall one by one, showing they're all empty, but the moment he finishes, the sound abruptly stops. A second later, the wailing resumes again, this time coming from deeper inside the school, far beyond the bathroom he's standing in. Manuel freezes, realizing whatever made that sound wasn't trapped in one room at all, and it was moving. Part 2 picks up immediately where the last clip left off, and this time there's no mistaking how intense things have become. The noise is now incredibly loud, echoing from deep within the building, no longer distant or faint. It sounds unmistakably like a woman in pain, a long, strained wailing that fills the halls and makes the walls vibrate.
Güey, ¿qué pedo? No mames. No mames, y justamente en el baño de... ¿Quién está ahí? No, no mames. ¿Quién está ahí? ¿Qué pedo? Es que... Esto ya no es normal, neta, ya no es normal. Ay, no mames, se sintió algo bien cabrón esta parte de aquí. No mames, clarito se está escuchando. Salga. Es que no. Güey, ¿qué pedo? O sea, ella es aquí. Sacó. ¿Quién está ahí? ¿Quién está ahí? No mames, qué putas me metí, cabrón. Hola. Hola. Ay, no mames, no, ya no hay. No hay nadie. Ya no se escuchó nada. Rayos.
As Manuel stands frozen, the bathroom stall doors in front of him begin to open one by one on their own. It's very quick, as if something unseen is pushing them from the inside. That's enough to force him to retreat backward into the hallway, breathing heavy as the sound drags on longer than ever before. Just when it finally cuts out, he cautiously steps forward again, but the second he reaches the bathroom entrance, the scream erupts once more, even louder. He later claims all of this was happening around 3 in the morning. Unsure what to do, Manuel stays where he is as the cries continue, bouncing around the building and making it impossible to pinpoint the source. He decides to check the men's bathroom to the right, but as he films inside, it becomes clear the noise isn't coming from there at all. Suddenly, it shifts again, pulling him back toward the women's bathroom, where it now sounds less like screaming and more like someone violently gagging or vomiting behind the walls. Moments later, the agonizing screams return at full volume. Manuel calls out "Hola" several times, his voice shaky, but there's no response. Then, for the longest stretch so far, everything goes completely silent. Taking that as his chance, he slowly backs away, never turning his back, before finally leaving the building altogether. Whatever was inside didn't follow him out, but the sounds he captured were more than enough to convince him never to return. Thomas had already been dealing with strange noises in the house for weeks, but this was the first time he decided to actually record anything. Late one night, convinced the sounds were coming from above him, he grabbed his phone, climbed up to the attic entrance. The footage shows him pulling the attic door open and shining his light into the darkness, calling out hello several times, half joking and half genuinely nervous. The attic is completely unlit, stretching out farther than expected, filled with old boxes and shadows that seem to swallow the beam of his torch. Take a look.
Thought I heard something. Whoa, what is... Hello? Hello? Oh God!
A few steps in, the camera suddenly jolts as Thomas freezes. At the far end of the attic, barely visible, a dark humanoid shape stands motionless, darker than the shadows around it. It doesn't move, but the longer he looks, the clearer it becomes that it isn't just an object. Panic sets in instantly. Thomas spins around and bolts back toward the stairs, breathing hard as the footage turns chaotic. The camera cuts out shortly after, once he reaches the hallway below and has to stop to catch his breath. After the incident, Thomas explained how difficult it was convincing his parents that what he saw was real. They initially brushed it off as nerves or imagination, but after hearing the recording and noticing that the attic noises didn't stop, they finally took it seriously. The family ended up barricading the attic door completely, stacking furniture beneath it and sealing it shut. Thomas says the sounds have quieted since then, but he refuses to go anywhere near that part of the house again. Whatever he saw up there was enough to change everyone's mind. Clowns have always been creepy, even when they are not doing anything at all, and this CCTV clip does absolutely nothing to help their case. The camera was set up facing a clown mannequin sitting upright on a sofa, its painted smile frozen and eyes staring forward in that way that already feels wrong before anything even happens. The house was empty at the time, no pets, no people, nothing that should have caused movement. For a while, the footage shows nothing but stillness until the mannequin's right arm slowly begins to slide off the armrest. It does not drop or flop the way gravity would make it. Instead, it moves sideways in a controlled, steady motion, lowering until it comes to rest against the side of the clown's body. What makes it even more unsettling is where it stops. The hand ends up positioned right next to the clown's hat, almost like it was deliberately reaching for it. No vibrations, no one-off camera, no visible reason for the movement at all. After the arm settles, nothing else moves for the rest of the recording, leaving the mannequin frozen once again, just in a slightly different pose than before. The owner later said they noticed the arm had changed position when reviewing the footage, and immediately removed the mannequin from the house, because apparently there are limits to what people are willing to coexist with, and a clown adjusting itself when no one is around is one of them. Two friends named Stevie and Ron were filming a light-hearted moment in their living room when something took a sharp turn into the unsettling. They had the camera pointed at their two rabbits on the floor, laughing as Stevie teased one of them by dangling a floppy carrot just inches from its face. The mood was relaxed and wholesome, the kind of clip you'd expect to end with nothing more than a rabbit chewing contentedly.
You don't want that shit.
Do you hear something outside?
Yeah, where's it coming from? There's something like
crouching down there.
Yeah, could you get the light? Yeah. What? Back there. Where did it go? Did you see where it went?
What? I don't know. I thought it ran down the alley.
Did you see which way?
Yeah. I don't see anything.
The black rabbit suddenly lunges forward and headbutts the carrot, snapping the end clean off, as both Stevie and Ron burst out laughing. But their laughter cuts short almost immediately when they both pause and look toward a window off camera. They mention hearing a noise from outside, even though nothing is picked up clearly on the audio. As Stevie slowly pans the camera toward the glass, something strange comes into view. Just beyond the window, low to the ground, there's a dark shape crouched in a way that doesn't look like any animal they can recognize. It's still for a second, like it knows it's being watched. Ron knocks on the window to scare it off, and instantly, the shape bolts away at an unnatural speed. The two rush outside to check, filming the empty yard and surrounding area, but there's nothing there at all. No footsteps, no animals, no sign anything had been crouching there moments earlier. What started as a harmless rabbit video ended with both of them convinced they'd just seen something that wasn't supposed to be there. Lean is standing just a few feet away from a door that won't stop being knocked on, the sound coming fast and aggressive like something on the other side is desperate to get in. The camera shakes slightly as the door itself begins to rattle in its frame, each knock making it flex more than it should.
Son 3 de la mañana. Hace rato que no escuchaba esto ahí. Ya estoy con mucho menos miedo que antes. Ahora lo afronto más rápido. Esto no sé, la verdad que voy a ver. Voy a tratar de grabar de acá. Miren lo alto que es. No lo puedo creer. No, sos hijo de puta. Que me miran, hijo de puta. ¿Quién sos, hijo de puta? ¿Quién sos? No hay nadie abajo, no hay nada. Es increíble. No, es increíble. No puedo creer que no haya nadie.
After a few tense seconds, the door suddenly cracks open on its own. Lean steps to the side, angling the camera so it now captures the bathroom behind it. That's when something even more disturbing appears. Above the shower curtain, a dark, head-shaped shadow starts moving back and forth, clearly visible against the lighter wall. Lean lowers the camera deliberately to show the floor beneath the curtain, proving there are no legs, no feet, nothing standing there. The shadow keeps shifting anyway. Fighting panic, he reaches forward and yanks the curtain back. The shower is completely empty. No one inside. No place for anything to hide. The knocking has stopped. The shadow is gone, and the bathroom is silent. Whatever was at that door moments earlier vanished the second he confronted it. Daniel works graveyard shifts at a hospital, the kind of quiet hours where every sound feels louder than it should. And he says that for weeks, one specific door has been opening and closing on its own during his rounds. At first, he blamed air pressure or faulty hinges because that is what a rational adult does before accepting nightmare logic. But it kept happening in the same way, at the same time, night after night. Eventually, he got tired of explaining it away and decided to record.
This door keeps on opening and closing. Like, there's nobody here. I'm not doing this sensor. But it keeps on opening and closing. And I'm alone. I'm alone.
The camera shows an empty corridor, lights humming softly, when the door at the end slowly begins to move. It opens with a long, dragged-out creak, inch by inch, as if someone unseen is carefully pulling it toward them. Daniel stays completely silent, clearly not wanting to interrupt whatever is happening. After a few seconds, the door stops. Then just as unnervingly, it starts to close again, reversing the motion at the same slow, deliberate pace until it settles back into place. There is no rush of air, no footsteps, no shadow passing by. Daniel later explained this was exactly how it always happened. Never slamming, never sudden, almost controlled. Hospital staff checked the area the next morning and found nothing wrong with the door at all. Since then, Daniel says he avoids that corridor whenever he can, because whatever is opening that door seems to know exactly when he is there. Roy's footage starts already in chaos, the kind that makes your stomach tighten before anything even happens. The camera is shaking as he runs into a room, slams the door shut behind him, and locks it while breathing heavily, clearly panicked by something chasing him through the apartment. Whatever scared him enough to run is still out there. Almost immediately, slow knocking begins on the door he just locked, each knock spaced out and deliberate, like whoever or whatever is on the other side knows he is listening. Then the pace changes. The knocks speed up, growing louder and more aggressive, until it sounds like the door is being tested. After a long pause, Roy finally works up the courage to open it. As the door creaks open, the camera reveals something even stranger. Inside the room is another closed door, facing him directly. Before he can react, that second door suddenly swings open on its own, fast and forceful, as if someone yanked it from the other side. The clip cuts immediately after. Roy later explained that this was the final straw for him. Since then, the activity has only escalated, and he is actively trying to move out of the apartment, convinced whatever is there does not want him staying any longer. Hannah is walking through a building that's completely silent, the kind of silence that feels wrong rather than peaceful. From the layout and the tiny furniture scattered around, it looks like an abandoned daycare. She keeps the camera steady as she moves down the hallway, aware that no one else is supposed to be there with her. As she steps into one of the rooms, the camera settles on a small doll, sitting upright on a child-sized chair in the corner. It looks harmless at first, just another forgotten toy left behind. But then, without anyone touching it, the doll shifts. Its body tilts slightly, adjusting its position on the chair as if it just moved on its own. Hannah gasps and instinctively steps back, quickly panning the camera to show there's no string, no one nearby, nothing that could have caused it. The rest of the room is empty, and the building remains dead silent. She doesn't stay long after that. Later, Hannah explained that she left the building immediately and refused to go back inside alone. Whatever was still playing in that daycare clearly wasn't ready to be left behind. Aiden starts recording after days of unexplained activity in his home, convinced that whatever's been happening isn't just his imagination anymore. He keeps the camera steady, focused on a cabinet in his kitchen that he claims has been causing problems on its own.
I feel some paranormal activity going on. paranormal activity. I knew it.
At first, nothing happens, and the room is completely silent. Then, without warning, the left side of the cabinet slowly pulls open by itself. There's no one near it, no visible force, and no sudden movement of air that could explain it. Aiden reacts instantly, informing the audience as he keeps the camera trained on the cabinet, half expecting it to move again. It doesn't. The door just hangs there, wide open, like it was deliberately left that way. After the clip, Aiden explained that this wasn't the first time things like this had happened, but it was the first time he managed to catch it on camera. Since then, he says the activity has been getting more frequent, and he's now convinced there's something in his house that knows exactly when it's being watched. This next clip comes from Ian, a familiar face for anyone who's followed Midwest ghost hunting for a while. He's back in the same abandoned factory he's explored before, a place already known for making people uneasy. At this point in the investigation, Ian is walking alone through a deeper section of the building, clearly worn down, but still pushing forward. He briefly discovers what looks like an old elevator shaft, but doesn't linger long because he says the area instantly makes him feel dizzy and disoriented, like the air itself is off. He moves away and ends up wandering into a bizarre, maze-like section of the factory, with narrow pathways and hanging sheets of torn material that force him to physically push through just to keep going.
Elevator shaft. God. Imagine falling down that. Hell no, I can't even look at stuff like that. I get woozy. Oh, whoa. This looks like a freaky maze. Do I dare go in here? Ah, screw it. Why not? Oh, jeez. Oh my gosh, that thunder. It almost sounded like, oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. What the f? Dude, the f***ing strobe lights are on. Get me out of here, get me out of here. I can't f***ing see. Dude, what the hell was that about? Those freaking things just came on by themselves. Who just turned those lights on? Oh my god, I about fainted when that freaking happened. I wonder if maybe they're motion censored. Maybe they just detected my motion and turned on. Oh god, I don't want to go back in there, but I gotta test it out. Oh, my goodness, it's getting tangled. Oh, the lights aren't going off. What the hell? What's going on? These things should be going off. Look, I'm already on the other side now. Oh man, oh. Yeah, like I'm moving all around in here. And there's nothing. They aren't going off. If you're still in here, could you trigger the lights?
As he makes his way through, the strobe lights in the area suddenly switch on by themselves, flashing violently and lighting up the maze in short, disorienting bursts. Ian immediately reacts, confused and unsettled, assuming they must be motion activated. To test it, he backs out and retraces his steps, deliberately walking the same path again. But this time, nothing happens. The lights stay completely off, no matter how much he moves. That's when it really sinks in that whatever triggered them before wasn't just motion. The randomness of it, combined with the oppressive layout of the factory, makes this one of the most unsettling moments of his entire investigation, and it's clear the building wasn't done messing with him yet. In the following clip from the Epic Paranormal channel, the team leader is exploring an old jail in West Virginia, a place with a long history and a reputation for intense activity, especially in one specific cell block. As they walk through the narrow corridor, the atmosphere already feels heavy, and the investigator mentions feeling like something is right behind him. That uneasy feeling is what makes him pull out his camera and start recording.
Sorry, this camera's got really bad autofocus. It looked like there was a person there. Right there in front of me, it looked like there was a person. So, let me know what you think about that. Was it just the camera not focusing on the distal part of the sail? Or did you think it was something legitimate? I want to put this out there for people to comment on and get opinions. Thanks.
He slowly moves from cell to cell, shining his light across the walls, pointing out the strange drawings and writing carved into almost every surface, each one more unsettling than the last. While he's focused on documenting the markings inside a cell, he doesn't notice anything unusual in the moment. It's only later, when reviewing the footage, that something disturbing becomes clear. As he turns the camera back toward the corridor, a dark, human-shaped silhouette briefly appears behind him, standing silently before vanishing just as quickly. There's no sound, no movement caught on audio, just the unmistakable outline of what looks like a person where nobody should have been. The jail was empty, except for him, and there was nowhere for someone to hide or move that fast without being seen. That single frame changed everything, turning a routine investigation into one of their most chilling pieces of evidence yet. In this next clip, the narrator, Ashton, was reviewing old footage from a live stream when they noticed something that still gives them chills. At first glance, it looks completely normal. His mother is sitting calmly on the sofa, watching TV, unaware she's even being filmed. But if you look closely, there's something very wrong.
If you guys look next to my mother, you guys will see this weird looking figure on the right. My dad got a package that day at 20/20/10/14, 13/32/50. Now, as you can see, when he moved, it was still right there. Who was out on the couch with my mom? My sister was in the kitchen, I was upstairs, and my dad was doing a package. Who was that?
Let's get a little closer look. I can't tell who that is. If you guys know who that is, comment down below, because I really cannot tell.
Sitting right beside her is a strange, human-shaped figure, close enough that their shoulders almost touch. It doesn't look solid, but it's not faint either. The shape has a head, a torso, and an unsettling posture, like it's deliberately seated there. What makes it worse is that everyone else in the house was busy in other rooms at the time, meaning no one should have been anywhere near her. The figure doesn't move, doesn't react, and disappears entirely by the time the camera angle changes. When Ashton showed the footage to his mother later, her reaction made it even creepier. She confirmed she never saw or felt anyone sitting next to her at all. She was completely alone, or at least she thought she was. Ashton says that since discovering this, he's gone back through other recordings, worried this wasn't the first time something like that had appeared near his family without them ever noticing. After settling into his new apartment just a week earlier, this man thought everything felt normal at first. The first night passed without issue, but on the second night, while lying in bed, he watched his bedroom door slowly open on its own. He brushed it off, telling himself it had to be air pressure or a faulty hinge. By the third night, though, things escalated. Around 11 p.m., he was relaxing in bed when he noticed something in the corner of the landing outside his room. It wasn't fully visible, just a faint shape, but he could clearly make out half of a face staring back at him. That's when he grabbed his phone and started recording.
Okay, so this is my apartment, guys. So I moved here in around July, and at least I think around, it was like last week I moved in. And the first day it was nice and peaceful and everything was good, but then, you know, while I was here in my bedroom, it's nothing, but all of a sudden lately I've been having very strange, kind of some weird paranormal type stuff where the doors opening by itself. And that was actually the second night. It was the second night. Then I think it was around 11. I was kind of in my office, but I was going to bed, and all of a sudden I look at this weird looking creepy apparition that was kind of exactly around right in the same air corner. And I looked at it, I'm like, oh crap. So I kind of ran. I'm like, what the heck is that? And it had hands, and I saw half of his face, but it looked like white ghostly. I don't know what it is, but very weird. It was very weird. But then all of a sudden, it's just crazy. Oh snap. What the heck? What the heck? Hello? What the heck? Y'all see that? Man, that thing drove by itself, and there's no wind drag or nothing. Look at the fan, look at that fan, the fan working. What the heck? Y'all saw that, right? This is what I'm talking about. It's doing it by itself. Nobody there. The frick is wrong with this? And to me, sometimes, I ain't gonna lie, but the internet ain't on. And it usually come on. But goodness gracious, that was just weird. But this is what I'm talking about. And then 2 days ago, I decided, because I didn't get no videos from last week when I moved in. This time I had to do the video it was on Thursday. And I had my tripod, and I was like, okay, let me put this down and see what happens. Then all of a sudden, here comes a weird figure coming through the hallway. Coming through the dark hallway like it's crazy. Right in that corner. But the camera flipped the other way. It was the other way. So it was actually that way. But it was in that corner. So it's very weird. Well, very creepy stuff happening in my apartment. But I'm gonna need some paranormals out here. Man, I'll let you know if I see anything strange out there. But what you just saw, I think that there was no, I ain't seen, I don't know, I did not see nothing, and it just opened by itself. Nothing.
As he explains what he's been experiencing, trying to stay calm while clearly shaken, the unthinkable happens again. Right behind him, the bedroom door slowly opens on its own, almost on cue, as if responding to his story. He freezes for a moment before forcing himself out of bed, nervously talking through his confusion as he walks toward it. He looks around, showing there's nothing and no one that could have caused it, then shuts the door himself. The room falls silent, but the timing is impossible to ignore. For him, that was all the confirmation he needed, that whatever he saw in the corner wasn't just his imagination, and whatever was in that apartment clearly wasn't done with him yet. Now the footage switches to a static camera he set up on the landing outside his bedroom, hoping that if something was really there, it would finally show itself without him being in the room. He leaves it recording overnight and doesn't check it until the next morning. What he finds is unsettling. The landing sits completely still for a while, empty and quiet, until a dark shape slowly appears from behind the edge of the doorway. It doesn't step out fully. Instead, it leans just enough for what looks like the outline of a head and shoulder to be visible, as if it's cautiously peeking into the hallway. The shape lingers there for a few seconds, unmoving, before slowly pulling back out of sight again. There's no light change, no shadow from passing cars, nothing that could explain it. After that moment, nothing else happens for the rest of the night. When he reviewed the clip, he said the position of the shadow lined up exactly with where he thought he saw the face the night before. Since setting up the camera, he hasn't slept properly, and he's now considering moving out entirely. Whatever was watching him that night clearly knew where he was, and worse, it seemed comfortable letting itself be seen. Franco was exploring a location that already had a reputation for being deeply unsettling, a place locals openly described as demonic, despite the religious crosses lining the area. Even before anything happened, the atmosphere felt wrong, heavy and quiet in a way that makes every sound stand out. He kept his camera rolling as he moved through the space, trying to document whatever he could.
What the hell is that? Hola? Hola? What was that? Hola? Holy, I literally saw something peeking out at me right over here.
While scanning the graveyard, something suddenly catches his attention behind a large cube. A pale, human-like face slowly peeks out from the side, just enough to be seen on camera. It lingers there for a moment, completely still, before retreating out of sight as if it realized it had been noticed. Franco immediately moves closer, rounding the cube to see who or what was hiding there. But there's nothing at all, and nowhere it could have escaped to. He even circles the area again, checking every angle, but the space is completely empty. Given the site's history and the number of people who've reported similar sightings, Franco believes this wasn't just his imagination. Whatever briefly revealed itself behind that cube didn't want to be seen for long, and it vanished just as quickly as it appeared. A man was sleeping on the couch late at night for reasons he never fully explains, positioned uncomfortably close to a life-size clown mannequin he kept in the room as part of a collection. The house was quiet, lights low, when the clock on the wall suddenly chimed 3 in the morning, loud enough to jolt someone awake, but not him. As the final chime echoes, the clown beside him begins to move. Its arm slowly rises out to the side, stiff at first, then lowers back down as if it completed a deliberate motion. Just when it seems to stop, the feet twitch slightly, wiggling against the floor for a brief moment before going completely still again. The man stays fast asleep, breathing heavily and becoming jittery. The mannequin doesn't move back, almost like it knows it's been caught. He later said the clown had no batteries, no internal mechanism, and had never moved before that night. After reviewing the footage multiple times, he decided the mannequin was no longer staying in his house. Some objects just feel wrong to keep around after something like that. Nick had been trying to communicate with what he believes is a presence in his house for weeks, but things didn't start feeling serious until one night when his dream catcher began spinning on its own above his bed. At first, he brushed it off, but then he heard faint tapping sounds that seemed to respond when he spoke, which is when he decided to start recording.
Okay guys, I've been trying to literally communicate with something. Like, there's no AC on, it's winter, this window's cracked, but this has been moving and I've been trying to communicate with whoever's here, but it's not really communicating back now, and I kept hearing tapping. But like, I just want to show you, like, this is a normal day in my house. Like, my mom is, these are the rooms, my mom is downstairs cooking dinner, and these rooms are a mess, I know. My mom is down here cooking dinner. So this is what I like experience on a day-to-day basis. Like, weird stuff like this just normally happens. And okay, I love that. What fell over in here now? I don't even know. Oh my god. And nothing. Oh. Okay, that's weird. Is there anyone here that can give me a sign?
The camera captures the dream catcher still rotating steadily, even though the air in the room is completely still and the window is closed. To prove everyone else was elsewhere, Nick steps out of the room for a moment and then comes back, showing that it never stops moving. Almost immediately after, a sudden scurrying sound comes from his ensuite bathroom, sharp and fast, like something darting across the floor. Nick walks in cautiously, filming every corner, but there's nothing there at all. No animals, no open vents, nothing that could explain the noise. Growing more uneasy, he asks out loud for a clear sign that something is really there. Seconds later, an object drops to the floor beside him with a loud thud, causing him to jump back in shock. There's no one else in the room, and nothing visibly touched it. For Nick, that was the moment things crossed from unsettling to impossible to ignore. It picks up exactly where the last clip left off, with Nick still trying to explain the tapping sounds out loud, saying how they seemed to answer him whenever he spoke. Almost on cue, another sharp tap echoes back from somewhere in the room, louder and closer this time. You can hear the tension in his voice as he immediately calls out to his brother to make sure he wasn't messing with him or trying to scare him, and his brother clearly denies it, sounding just as confused. Trying to stay calm, Nick starts explaining the tapping again, while walking toward a small storage room at the back of the house.
I keep hearing tapping. These walls are hollow. Whoa! Whoa! Okay. Aunt, where are you?
I'm right here.
Did you see that?
No, I heard it.
That's insane. So things have been pretty quiet, I guess not, but these walls are hollow, and we kept hearing tapping on the backs of the walls. And inside here, this is the only hollow room. This is like cement. So I don't know. Holy shit. What was that? Oh my god. Okay, well, now you can see there's no strings, no nothing. There's a wall of glass behind it. Oh my gosh. What was that?
My shoulder.
Oh.
The moment he steps inside, something behind him suddenly crashes to the floor. He spins the camera around to reveal a stack of CDs scattered everywhere, knocked over all at once as if they were pushed. As he films them, the camera begins to lag and stutter, the audio warping slightly, making the whole scene feel even more off. Nick starts backing away, breathing fast, when another loud noise comes from deeper in the room. The footage then abruptly cuts out, ending the clip mid-moment and leaving no explanation for what caused any of it. In the following video, a man was standing in his living room late at night claiming he heard a glass make a soft ting sound as if it had lightly tapped against another on its own. He starts filming, confused, while his cat walks toward him meowing in a way that clearly shows it was just as startled. He keeps the camera pointed toward the glass and asks out loud if it might be coming from the strange African mask sitting across the room, a piece he has always found unsettling.
I just heard it. I swear I heard this glass go ting. You know, like that noise. Even the cat's coming over to investigate. Yeah, I know some weird shit's happening, innit, kitty? There's the weird mask. Something freaking you out, kitty? Huh? Yeah, I swear it was that glass. The weird African mask, is it you? Could be the African mask. Brought some voodoo magic. What the f— Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! I'm running over here and that couldn't be. Jesus Christ! Oh my God! Oh fuck. That is so weird. I am freaking the f out. Oh shit.
Just as he finishes his sentence, the kitchen tap beside him suddenly turns itself on full force, the sound echoing through the room as he jumps back and yells in shock. He quickly lunges forward to turn it off, his breathing sharp, and retreats to the opposite corner of the room with the cat still staring toward the mask. Nothing else moves after that, but between the strange glass noise, the cat's reaction, and the tap activating on its own, he is convinced something in that room was trying to get his attention. A few days after the tap incident, he found himself dealing with something even stranger when he was just trying to use the bathroom. He said he was sitting on the toilet when he suddenly heard a loud beeping sound coming from downstairs, which made no sense because nothing in his house should have been making that noise. Curious and uneasy, he grabbed his phone and started recording as he made his way down the steps.
Right, I just started recording again. Because I'm sat on the toilet and I can hear something beeping downstairs, and the only thing that beeps like that is the fridge. Like, if it only beeps like that when the fridge door is open. I don't even want to look. Oh my God. What the f— I'm just gonna sit here . Whoa, did that wire just move? No. Whoa, what the f— What the f— What? Oh no. It's actually moving, man. It looks like a snake or some shit. What the f— The lampshade's going as well. They're like moving towards it. What the fuck? Whoa! No! 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 No, 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 no. Fucking hell, the cable flew over there. That was what was moving in the bowl. A little wooden insect stick fucking thing. Milk bottle.
The moment he reached the bottom, he froze because the fridge was standing wide open, even though he swore he never touched it. He sat on the stairs for a moment, waiting for anything else to happen, and right then, a wire sitting inside a bowl on top of the fridge began to move in this slow, unnatural slithering motion, like something invisible was dragging it around. The light in the kitchen swayed closer to the wire as if the two were weirdly connected, and before he could process that, an empty milk carton suddenly fell out of the refrigerator on its own. He bolted back upstairs in full panic, but returned a moment later to find both kitchen lights swinging this time and a Coke bottle now lying on the floor. At this point, he said he was genuinely terrified because none of it could be explained, and whatever was in his house seemed to be getting stronger. Once the fridge incident ended, he was sitting on the couch at around 3 in the morning watching TV, trying to shake off the feeling that the activity had finally calmed down. But the longer he sat there, the more he kept getting this horrible sense that someone was standing on the staircase behind him, just watching. It got to a point where the feeling got so strong he couldn't even focus on the screen anymore, so he had to hit record.
Right, I just thought I'd start recording again. I was just sat watching TV for a bit. It's like 3 in the morning. Just turned it off to go to bed. I was just getting the weirdest feeling that someone was stood behind me, like sat on the stairs almost looking at me. It's making the hairs on the back of my neck stand on end. And usually I would just kind of palm it off and tell myself stupid and forget about it, but given recent events, I'm not gonna lie, I'm letting it get to me a little bit. It's freaking me the fuck out. It's really freaking me out. It's really, really freaking me out. I left this little note, yes and no, with a £1 coin. Kind of asked it a few questions before I left earlier to go watch the boxing, and it hasn't moved, so that didn't really work. But yeah, I just feel like right there, man. Me and my dad used to live in this house. It was a bit weird. Used to hear footsteps upstairs, and my dad would say that he used to feel like, what's up? What the? Did you hear that jingle then? You hear that jingle? That definitely. What the fuck is going on in this house? And my cat as well just keeps doing this. My cat just keeps walking around meowing, which is also freaking me out. Fucking so weird. So weird. Are you here to hurt me? Are you here to do me harm? Are you friendly? Whoa, what the?
Nah. Off. No way. What the? No, man. No way that just moved. Loki? Loki? You need to get out of my house, whatever you are, whoever you are, you need to leave. You need to leave right now. Fuck's sake.
He left a piece of paper and wrote yes on one side and no on the other, then placed a coin in the middle to see if anything would respond. For a while, nothing budged, and he even sighed, thinking maybe it wouldn't work. But then a sudden jingle echoed from right next to him, like something metallic dangling had been nudged, and immediately after that a fast, scurrying noise shot across the floor behind him. His cat started pacing around anxiously, meowing toward the staircase like it was reacting to something he couldn't see. Trying to stay calm, he asked out loud if whatever was there was trying to hurt him. Nothing. Completely silent. Then he asked a different question, his voice shaking, asking if it was friendly. The coin slowly slid across the paper and stopped over the word no. A man was checking a graveyard site early in the morning because there was a funeral scheduled later that day, and he wanted everything to look presentable before the family arrived. It was completely silent around him, nothing but headstones, trimmed grass, and the quiet breeze moving through the trees. While walking between two rows of graves, he suddenly flinched and grabbed his arm, feeling a sharp sting like something had burned him. When he lifted his sleeve, there was a fresh red scratch across his skin, thin and bright as if it had just been made. Nobody else was there. No branches, no tools, nothing that could have brushed against him. The moment it happened, he pulled out his phone and began recording to document the rest of what he was experiencing.
So I'm here this morning just to check, the site for one of our funerals today. And I'm checking the site. Nothing around me besides graves. And I feel this burn on my arm. I don't know if you can see that, but pretty deep raised scratch. I don't know what the hell. So it's a Monday morning, start of a new week. Maybe it'll be a good week. I don't see anything out of place or odd in the garage. Didn't see any prints or anything like that. So, Jesus Christ! What the f?
The footage cuts to the cemetery's small maintenance garage, where he had gone to see if maybe some animal or loose equipment had caused the scratch. Despite this being completely delusion, he barely gets near the door before something slams hard against the metal shutters from the inside, loud enough to echo across the graveyard. He jumps back instantly, pointing the camera at the shaking panels, but nothing tries it again. The entire place is still, completely empty, and the door stays shut. Between the unexplained scratch and whatever hit the shutters, he felt like something in that graveyard did not want him there, and after this recording, he left the area immediately. CCTV footage from inside a children's bedroom captured one of the most disturbing clips this family has ever seen. Runa, the little boy sitting calmly on the bed, is playing with his device while his older sister moves around the room behind him. Nothing seems unusual at first, but then she suddenly jolts and is yanked downward toward the gap under the bed, as if something unseen grabbed her ankles. She immediately starts crying and trying to resist, clearly being pulled by force.
Astagfirullahaladzim. Ayah, demi Allah, kayak ada yang nyeret Jena. Demi Allah, demi Allah. Demi Allah, kayak ada yang nyeret Jena. Bener, astagfirullahaladzim. Nggak jelas. Nenek di depan. Jangan makin dalam ya. Demi Allah, kayak ada yang nyeret, sumpah demi Allah. Bukan dia pergi. Abang Asli. Siapa nih? Kita enggak.
Runa just sits there frozen for a few moments, unsure what to do before getting his mom's attention. When she rushes in, the girl is still halfway under the bed, gripping the frame in panic. The mother tries to pull her out and struggles against a resisting force that makes the process take several seconds. Another woman enters to help, and they ultimately have to lift the entire bed up just to free her. Nothing under it, nothing around it, nothing that could have dragged her the way the footage shows. The family is convinced something was under that bed with her, and this clip might be one of the clearest pieces of evidence they've ever captured. The woman filming the next clip is called Marlene, and she had been dealing with strange occurrences at her workplace for weeks. But on this particular day, the activity seemed to escalate all at once. She starts recording after hearing a series of random taps echoing from inside the walls, the kind that didn't match pipes, heating, or anything mechanical. As she films quietly, the building's ambient music suddenly turns itself on and off, almost like someone flicked a switch. Then the overhead lights shift shade, dimming slightly, and brightening again with no warning.
Like, this is not a joke. Oh my god. Where the fuck did the music come from? And the music just stopped. Oh my god, literally no one. Oh my god. Literally nothing here. Like, nothing. Like, I don't know what the all that noise was about, but there's nothing here. Nothing. It's insane. Oh my god. I'm so fun. Oh my god, the light is off.
As she walks through the hallway, more taps follow her, accompanied by what sounds unmistakably like footsteps, despite nobody else being in the building. Marlene keeps her composure and climbs the narrow ladder to the attic to show viewers what's actually up there, and sure enough, it's completely empty. No workers, no pests, no equipment running, just dust and insulation. She comes back down, and she's starting to feel watched, only to turn the camera and realize the light she had left on moments earlier is now completely off. She insists nobody else has access to the building during her shift, and with the footsteps, the tapping, the music flickering on and off, and the lights behaving on their own, she thinks whatever is in her workplace doesn't want her there. One night, Aina and her baby Ponko were both fast asleep when something jolted her awake. She heard a sudden high-pitched beep echoing through the house, the unmistakable sound of the home alarm activating. Confused and already on edge, she grabbed her phone and got out of bed, quietly shutting the bedroom door behind her so Ponko wouldn't wake up. As she steps into the hallway, the door she had just closed suddenly pulls itself back open, slow and smooth, like someone unseen was pushing it. Aina later reported that this frightened her, but not a great deal. A moment later, it opens once more after closing, the movement so deliberate it makes her gasp. Fortunately, Ponko stays completely unaware in the background, safe and silent. Aina runs back into the room and screams as she looks toward the doorway. Later, after calming down, she explained exactly what terrified her. For a brief moment, she swears she saw her husband standing there in the doorway staring directly at her with a cold, blank expression. The only problem was he wasn't home yet, and by the time she worked up the courage to look again, the man she saw was gone. In the following video, the man behind the camera keeps moving through what looks like a storage area, the kind of tight corridor where every box and shadow feels like it has weight, and you can tell he is already on edge as he scans each corner with the camera. He stops when he notices a door that should never be opened during the investigation, sitting cracked just enough to make the hallway feel wrong, and he slowly leans in to look behind it, even though the team is nowhere nearby.
La puerta se abre y se cierra sola.
Se está abriendo esa puerta. No hay nadie. Y por acá también se escucha ruido.
He finds the door opening a crack, so opens it and checks behind it just to see nothing. Because of this, he walks away and the door shuts by itself as a strange noise starts playing behind it, and he speed walks out of the hallway. The second that door slams, you can see his whole body tense, because that wasn't wind, and it definitely wasn't timing or coincidence. And the noise that follows sounds like something trying to push through the wall just to remind him he is not supposed to be there. His footsteps turn into a full speed walk that almost looks like he wants to run, but refuses to make noise, and every few seconds he glances back like he expects the door to open again. Moments like that show exactly why investigators always say curiosity is one thing, but when the building answers you on its own, that is when you learn how fast fear can move. It was late enough that the local markets should have felt peaceful, but every shutter was pulled down tight and the whole place looked abandoned, except for May cutting through the empty rows. She knew the place was closed and shouldn't have held any noise at all, which is why the first faint scream stopped her in her tracks, sounding like someone crying out in pain from deep inside the metal-covered stalls. She followed it slowly, each step making the sound grow sharper and more desperate, until it felt like it was right beside her, but no matter where she turned, there was never anyone there.
Imagínate andar por la central de abastos y oír esto.
The screaming and crying keep getting louder as she walks, yet she can't find the source, even when it sounds feet away. By the time she reached the end of the walkway, the noise was so overwhelming it felt like it was coming from the walls, and she spun around expecting someone to stumble out, but the shutters were sealed tight like they hadn't moved in hours. That was the moment she realized she wasn't chasing a person at all, and the way the sound cut off instantly once she stopped filming, almost like it knew she understood, made the silence after feel even worse. May had walked straight into something trying to be heard, and the fact that it never showed itself only made it clearer that she had been listening to a ghost. It happened late in the evening when the house was already settling into that quiet that makes every shadow seem a little thicker, and Charlie kept tugging at his dad's sleeve, saying there was a scary boy standing across the room staring at him. His dad brushed it off at first, calling it pretend, but Charlie wasn't smiling or joking. He just kept insisting the boy was real and he didn't want to be near him. Eventually, the dad told him to show where this scary boy was, so Charlie nervously walked with him through the hall and stopped at a doorway, pointing inside with his hands shaking like he expected something to move.
What are you saying, Charlie? There's a scary boy where? What do you mean? What, are you doing pretend? Yeah, you're just playing pretend, aren't you? Do you want to show me? Show me then. Come on. You show me where he is.
This is actually fucking mad.
Where? Where? In there? In there? Okay, get ready, Charlie. No scary boy. No, there's nothing there, mate. Do you want me to go in? Look. There's absolutely nothing in here. You've got nothing to be scared about. I've absolutely shit myself. There's nothing to be scared about. There's nothing here. That's just the bathroom. Nothing there, buddy. Yeah. Yeah. That's just the shower. Never been more scared in my entire life. Oh. See, told you. Nothing there, mate. Perfect. Come on. Let me silly.
The father opens the door and sees nothing, while Charlie refuses to step past the threshold. The moment the door swings open to an empty room, the dad turns back confused, but Charlie steps back like he's afraid something invisible is right in front of him, claiming that the scary boy is still there, even if his dad can't see him. That kind of fear doesn't come from pretending, and the way Charlie wouldn't even look into the room made the dad realize this wasn't just a kid's imagination. It was something he couldn't explain, and something Charlie clearly wished he hadn't noticed at all. It was supposed to be a quiet night in Braden's room, but the ceiling kept creaking with slow, heavy footsteps, even though nobody was home, and there shouldn't have been anything moving above him at all. He sat still for a second, trying to convince himself it was the house settling, but the steps were too steady, too human, so he grabbed his flashlight and started walking through the dark halls with that kind of nervous focus where every sound feels closer than it should.
Wow, it's really bad right now. Okay, hold on. Jesus. Okay, hold up. Why is the tree on there? Whatever that is coming from up here. Should I attempt to go in there? Because that was coming, all that thumping, it was coming from like right in there, in that room.
What the? He points his flashlight upstairs and hears his own exact voice say, "Come up for a sec." The way the voice coming down the stairs matched his tone perfectly meant he froze, because there was no way his own voice should be calling him from a place where nobody was standing. It wasn't an echo, and it wasn't a trick of the house. It sounded like something pretending to be him just to get his attention. He didn't step closer. He didn't even breathe for a moment, because when something upstairs can mimic you perfectly, the last thing you want to do is give it the chance to talk again. The following video was captured amidst a normal slow night at the sneaker shop. The kind where the worker is just sweeping the floor, and straightening boxes while the CCTV quietly records every corner of the room. Nothing feels off until the air suddenly shifts a little, just enough to make him pause, and the camera catches him glancing toward the back, like he sensed something move. As he keeps cleaning, the door to the back of the shop slams shut on its own, even though nothing is near it. He jumps and stares because there's no draft, no co-workers, no reason for it to slam with that much force, and the CCTV angle shows the room behind it is completely empty. It's the kind of movement that looks deliberate, like something wanted to make itself noticed, and the way he slowly backs away from the doorway says everything. Even in a brightly lit shop, surrounded by sneakers and shelves, that door made it clear he wasn't alone at all. The same sneaker shop is open now, customers walking around and the place feeling completely normal, like nothing strange had ever happened there. And one of the workers is helping a guy try on a new pair he picked from the wall. They're chatting casually as the customer slips the sneakers on. Then he walks over toward the mirror to get a better look, while the worker follows a few steps behind, totally unaware that the cameras are still watching every corner and about to capture something crazy.
Yeah, I'm going, bro. Pharaoh, pretty cool. He's trying not to take it on that slow. Hell no.
As the customer stands in front of the mirror, a single sneaker from the display wall drops to the floor on its own, with no one near it, causing both of them to panic and run. The moment that sneaker hits the ground, they both whip around because it didn't slide. It didn't wobble off. It fell straight down like something knocked it loose with intention. You can see the confusion turn into fear instantly, and the worker doesn't even try to explain it before bolting toward the front door with the customer right behind him. It feels like whatever slammed the back door before was still there, waiting for another chance to be noticed, and that single falling sneaker was enough to send them both running.